please eat. There's lots of hot dogs here. And what we're going to do tonight, we have this set for 5 to 7, but we know that we're meeting the nights tonight. So we're glad that all of y'all who have split your night are going to come and spend a little bit of time here with us and then go on to meet the night. So I'm going to do my very best, and the office knows I tend to go too long and run too late. But I'm going to be real quick and try to get y'all out of here in just a minute. So thank you for coming. Thank you very much for coming. I wanted to welcome you. And officially now, I wanted to welcome everyone to the Economic Development Forum for District 27. No invitations needed. You don't have to be a Republican. We're just glad to have you. I wanted you to make sure that we understand in this campaign, politics is not by invitation only. You're here because I want you to be here. Everybody is welcome in this campaign. I represented, I understood for 10 years, I represented not just Democrats, not just people who supported me. When I was in office, I represented the whole district, and I was happy to represent everybody. Most people, honestly, most people don't spend most of their time deciding whether an issue is a Republican issue or a Democrat issue. Most people just want things to get done right, and get done honestly. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and say right up front, don't forget my good Republican friends, and I know there's many in this pavilion tonight who mostly vote Republican, and I respect that. I never voted a straight ticket in my life. I want you to know that when you vote that straight ticket Republican, come down and hit that my name. Fill in the arrow by my name and it will count. Howard Hawk taught us that 2 years ago. And I'm trying to build on that. So if you feel like you need to vote that straight ticket, come down and vote Jeff McLaughlin in that race and it'll still count. So please don't forget that. Before I go any further, let me briefly introduce my family. First and foremost, I want to introduce my wife, my stay-at-home mom, Stacy McLaughlin. Stacy, stand up, take a bow. Oh, you got to. I'll be busy for it. All right. She has been at home. She taught school in Gunnersville for just a year or two before Frank came along. And I tell you what, Frank was a handful, and she hasn't been able to work ever since. Sure enough, Frank offered the blessing. Frank, I appreciate that. It touched my heart. Thank you. A little bit of campaign speech, a little bit of asking God's blessing, and I appreciate it very much. It's from the heart, very sincere. Frank knew what he was talking about when he said campaigns are hard on people. And let me come to that after I make sure you meet the two other people who take up most of my time and are my number 2 and 3 priorities. Actually, 1, 2, and 3 all jumbled together. William, stand up right quick. That's William McLaughlin. He's 14 years old. And Mary Crawford McLaughlin. Come on, stand up. She actually did it. All right. A lot of times she doesn't say what Dad has to do. Thank y'all. What Frank was telling you is that campaigns can be hard on a family. They can. We know that from last time. We're not going to dwell on last time, but we're prepared based on what happened last time. There's a lot of ugly going to come out. I believe that won't necessarily come from my opponent. I believe it will come from people behind my opponent. Primarily from state Republicans, primarily from, probably, honestly, one person. His name is Mike Hubbard. He is the head of the Republican Party, and he is the Speaker of the House. He commands more money than anybody else in this state. He considers himself more powerful than the governor, more powerful than any other Republican politician, and more powerful than any other person in this state. He will be directing money against me. And I know it's already started. Those of you who are familiar with the term of push poll, I won't get into that much, but just tell you, push polls have already started. To hear the push poll tell it, I have coffee with Barack Obama every morning. And in the evening, he called me to clear that strike they made in Iraq last week. I wanted y'all to know that. That's my call. Seriously, they will try to tie me at the hip with Barack Obama and liberals. I want to say a couple of quick things so you'll be prepared for what you're going to get. Y'all come on in. Y'all please keep coming. And what you're going to hear is you're going to hear that I'm a liberal. I want you to know that there's a lot of folks in this county who took their D and stuck a little stick on it and turned it into an R, and they're still D's. I'll tell you, there's a lot of folks who claim to be Republicans and got elected as Republicans or managed to avoid an opponent as a Republican who were Democrats until they just thought, the wind is blowing this way, I think I'll become a Republican. That ain't me. And I'm not really all that strong a Democrat in some ways. I'm not a Washington Democrat at all. I'm not a liberal Democrat. I'm a conservative Democrat. I'm a Truman Democrat. I'm the kind of Democrat your grandfather voted for. And I want to make sure that message gets out, because you're going to get inundated with mailers and push polls and calls. And one of the ways you're going to get inundated goes back to the way I run a campaign. Everybody who's here, by golly, don't you get sick of money in politics? Don't you get sick of candidates bought and paid for and folks thinking they can buy their way into an office? I know I do. And that's why I don't take campaign contributions. And that's why I've made it real clear, if y'all want to give money to me, I appreciate it. And I thank you for that. But give that money to your church. Give that money to a charity. And write me a note, say I gave an extra $10 to my church this weekend. I gave $100 to hospice. I gave $100 to the Gunnersville Apple Foundation or the ARAB Foundation for the schools. Do that instead of giving money to me. And let me know that so we can let folks know we're doing good right here in this community right now. A lot of politicians promise to do good. I want to do good right now with you, and together we can do that, and we can send that message that the $400,000 or $500,000 that are going to be spent in this campaign by the other side can't stand up to dedicated, hardworking people who believe in something. Help me send that message, because we can do it together. I know we can. So be prepared. I want you to think. I want you to know that I will not be the candidate who's in a smoke-filled room with the campaign contributors who give their money and who come and allow people to come by invitation only. Didn't we have one of those just last week here in ARAB? I want y'all to know that won't be me. I got nothing to hide. I'm glad everybody's here. I'm glad everybody's listening. I got nothing that you need to have an invitation so that you won't be, that you'll be in the in crowd with me. I want everybody who's an ordinary person like me, who wants to have a voice in our state government, who wants to make Alabama better. I want every one of you to be here with me. I want every one of you to spread that message and be prepared when the mud starts getting slung. Because I depend on you more than most people to get at, more than most politicians, to get out there and set the record straight. Jeff's not a liberal. Jeff is very conservative. Jeff stands for family values. And I'll get into a whole little laundry list here in a minute of things that I want you to just get them right in a row so you can keep them straight. Set them straight. I need y'all more than the average politician needs them. I need you, and it's a two-way street. I hope you can count on me, and I count on you to help me, and I appreciate that. By the way, there's all kind of junk out here tonight. These signs don't do me any good in my office. They don't do me any good here. Take them by the handful. Stick them out in your yards. I'd rather have a yard sign in the supporters' front yard than 20 billboards all over town, if you know what I'm talking about. Get that $3 yard sign, and we'll outpace him with those $200 billboards and those $1,500 billboards he's got all over the county. Take that $3 yard sign, and that will be more effective in your yard than any number of billboards out there. Let me tell you a couple of issues that I feel real strongly about so you know where I stand. So you say, why is Jeff running? Why should we be for it? And by the way, I see Logan Gibbs heading out. Thank you, Logan. Thank you for helping me. Is that JC? Y'all go on. If you need to get to the night's thing, I'm going to try to be real quick, and I'm going to try to be about 5 more minutes and let you go. And then I'll stay, and y'all eat, and then we'll do it again at about 6:15. So if you didn't get it good the first time, I'll give you another show. And, sure enough. All right, redistricting. Our county should have been 2 districts. That's all. We had the right number of population. We could have been 2 districts. An Albertville Boaz district and an ARAB Gunnersville district. But they didn't do that. Our delegation not only participated, but purposefully drew these lines in such a way to help themselves. There's no secret that if you look in Gunnersville got cut in half. Gunnersville voted very heavily for me last time and every other time I've run. By the way, the district line is 3 doors from my house. While they were redistricting, you could watch it on the computer, they bounced me into Kerry Rich's district, District 26, and then West Long bounced me back Kerry Rich bounced me into West Long's district, West Long bounced me into Kerry Rich's district, and finally in that tug of war, Kerry Rich won, and I was stuck back in my old district to run against West Long. Of course, he ain't running, but you'll look at that line, my house is right on the edge of the peninsula of Guntersville that's in the district, barely. That's shameful. That hurts everybody in Marshall County. I won't get into how, but I can assure you the way the legislature works, having 5 people with their finger in the Marshall County pie hurts us. It makes it more susceptible to political gains and anybody torpedoing things that are good for Marshall County. It's a bad thing. And no one from Marshall County stood up to stop it. No one. As a matter of fact, they participated in it and helped it happen. Education. By golly, education's an important issue. My goodness. We have cut education in Alabama. Teachers make less now than they made 4 years ago. Do we have some teachers here? Tell me about it. You make less than you did 4 years ago. I know that. That is wrong. We know we've been through some economic hard times, but out of the 50 states, once again, Alabama cut education per pupil more than any state in the Union. We spend less now per child educating than we did in 2009 and 2008. That's wrong. You want to talk about economic development? Then let's have good schools. Let's have a strong public education system. Let's not be talking jobs, jobs, jobs without schools, schools, schools. And the Alabama Accountability Act. That is the worst piece of legislation to come out of Montgomery in, well, certainly in my lifetime. Among many other things, it takes public tax dollars and puts them into private schools. That is wrong. I'm all for private education. If you want to send your children to private school, that's great. I support you. But the taxpayers should not support you. That's been fundamental in this country since before this country became independent. We have had school laws to put money in public education even before we were a separate country. We've never supported private schools through the public coffers. TVA money. Y'all know about the TVA money. I don't need to educate this crowd. TVA money used to go to South Alabama. I led the charge to the Tennessee Valley Caucus to get that money back in the Tennessee Valley counties where it comes from. I fought too hard for that money for it to become a slush fund for our current legislators. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what it is. Instead of it being allocated for your fire departments and your police departments and paving roads here in Marshall County like it ought to be, they dole it out to their friends on their pet projects. That ain't right. And if you put me back in Montgomery, I will fight to make sure that money is allocated in an above-board manner so you can see where your tax dollars are going. It ain't a gift for your legislators to hand out. It's your tax dollars. It's my tax dollars. Those need to be allocated properly. And they're not being. They're re-election money for the current people in office. That's wrong. I want to be an independent voice for you. I want you to understand that if I go to Montgomery, I won't be listening to the Democrat leader necessarily, and I sure won't be listening to the Republican leader necessarily. I'll be listening to them, but I'll be making up my own mind what's best for District 27. What's best for the people I represent, Republicans and Democrats and Independents. Not what somebody tells me to vote. I'm telling you, my coverage got every member of the Republican Party by the throat. And he's got a supermajority, and he can do whatever he wants, and if they don't do what he wants, he gets them an opponent. I tell you, that's the truth. When I go down there, I'll look my cover right in the eye and tell him you're wrong, and I won't kowtow to you. I'll be fighting for Marshall County. What you've got is you've got 63 puppets and one puppet master in my cover. I will be fighting against that. Will Ainsworth will merely take the place of Wes Long. He won't have any independent voice for this district or for this county. He might be a nice enough fella, but he's not going to be able to know how to deal with my cover. He's simply going to take the scraps that are handed to him from my cover's table, and he's going to be expected to do exactly what Mike Hubbard tells him to do. And if you don't believe me, you ask anybody what's been going on for the last 4 years. Anybody who knows what's been going on in the legislature will tell you. Mike Hubbard gets everything he wants, and our legislators have been hand in glove with him. More appropriately, they've been puppets on a string. I like that country song, by the way. If anybody can put that one up. You've got to be your own man, not a puppet on a string. I won't sing it, I promise. Now, let me tell you this. I promise you, I'd get you out of here. Know these points, and by golly, when somebody at the coffee shop or at your Sunday school class or somewhere gets a mailer and says, Jeff drinks coffee with Obama every day, and Jeff's a liberal, and Jeff's I am pro-life, I am pro-family, I am pro-Second Amendment, I am pro-public education. Don't have any doubts about that. And to some of my more liberal friends, I'm sorry, but I'm strong on those issues. Every darn one of them. I am pro-hard work. I am pro-doing what you say you're going to do. I am pro-treating your neighbor as yourself, taking the Christian commission and actually living on it. That's what we should do. I am a conservative Southern Democrat. I am not going to be out there doing things that they're going to dress me up as an Obama, Washington liberal Democrat. That is not me. And anybody that tells you that they're going to go to Montgomery to fight Obamacare, they're in the wrong house. That's Washington. There's not one thing that the state representative can do, or the state legislature can do, to stop Obamacare or Obama. Period. That's just a bunch of rhetoric that's been fed to people for the last 4 years. There's nothing that can be done in Montgomery to stop any of that. So don't be suckered, and help me get the word out to people to know the truth. The truth will set you free, and know that. As I promised, and I know what the office knows, Dad, now my boys are probably saying, Dad, wind it up, get to be time, come on, Dad, drag it up. So let me tell you this. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I hope I get a good response, and I want y'all to get to the night. Let me ask you this. Are you tired of a members-only attitude toward what matters, like economic development? Are you tired of that?
Yes!
Are you tired of a members-only attitude toward who can participate in politics?
Yes!
Are you mad at the way this county was redistricted?
Yes. Absolutely.
Are you mad at the way they've cut public education?
Yes.
Are you sick of party bickering?
Yes.
Are you tired of politicians being bought and sold every day?
Yes.
Do you want somebody who will represent you?
Yes.
Do you want a man who is tested, tried, and true?
Yes.
And McLaughlin!
Woo! Yeah!
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.